What is up, everybody? My name is Andrew, and welcome back to Space Engineers Survival 2025, episode number 30. We've been building this gigantic ship up there, and in this episode, we've got a couple things that we want to do to this, including naming the ship and adding a couple things that I forgot. So first of all, let's start with naming the ship. I asked you guys for names in the last episode, and I got quite a few. They're all animal themed, which was very nice, but some of the ones, actually, I'll just tell you what all of them were. So if you look at the profile of this ship, think about this when I say these names. So we got the mammoth, we got the cassowary, we got the hippo, we got the flounder, we got the octopus, the kraken, the grizzly bear, the antiloper, which is a play on the interloper, which is the name of the reaver ship there. We've got the honey badger, the shark, the porcupine, the crocodile, the mandible, the armadillo, which I thought was pretty funny, and the elephant. But the one that I'm gonna go with that I really liked is the manta ray. A lot of people were recommending this one, and I really like it because this does sort of look like a bit of a manta ray. They've got that little thing in the front right there. They usually have a tail as well, which we don't have, but it's fine. We could add a tail if we want to. So I think the manta ray is going to be the name that we're going to go with. And now that we have the name for this thing, we can also give it a paint job. But there's also a couple things that I need to add to the ship that I forgot. Most notably, upward facing thrusters. That was going to be very awkward if we went to space and didn't have any upward facing thrusters. We would just end up floating in that direction. So adding some upward facing thrusters, where could we put those? We could put them up there in the middle. We could maybe put them right here. Actually, that wouldn't be a bad idea if it's easy. Let's see what's under this. If I go in here, what are you? You're just, actually, yeah, that would not be difficult. What are you? Okay, so I could replace both of these with a T-junction right there. Okay, that's gonna put a block down. So if I put a T-junction right here, okay, Buzz is gonna pick that up, that's fine. So T-junction right there going forward. Yep. And then we'll do the same thing right here, T-junction going upward this time for that one right there. So let's build those up, and we're gonna do the same thing on the other side as well. Oh, I actually had the blocks for that, nice. And then yeah, let's do the same thing on the other side here. Low. Okay, my fuel's low because I haven't been tracking that, but that's fine. Give it a second right here. Let's put this T-junction in right there, which I think is gonna go perfectly. I'll need a small steel tube for that, but let me jump down here real quick and grab a little bit of fuel as well. We only have 4%, so I gotta be a little careful and hop down here safely. Oh, I can hop down, oh, there. Okay, with the last little bit of our fuel, we've landed. All right, a little bit of hydrogen, and then let's go in here and make sure that we grab our bottles. There we go, 2 hydrogen bottles, and perfect. Okay, so yeah, we need to get this small steel tube right there. So let's go down here and grab that. And then once we have that, we can throw in our hydrogen thrusters, and then we'll have the upward facing thrusters, which is going to be very good. So thruster, grab our hydrogens, which are over here. We have our large hydrogen thruster. We're gonna turn that into a nice small one, and we'll use the industrial ones that we like here. One right there, 2 right there, perfect. And let's go ahead and build these up. That is no doubt gonna take a couple trips. That's not even connected yet. Oh shoot, you know what? We should actually connect that, shouldn't we? So we can actually fill up our hydrogen tanks. I think that'd be a good idea. All right, there's one of our hydrogen engines, hydrogen thrusters, not engines. And let's get the other ones here. There's a second hydrogen thruster in the upward direction. There's a third hydrogen thruster in the upward direction, and just a little bit more for the fourth one. All right, here is the 4th hydrogen thruster in the upward direction. So we now have upward facing hydrogen thrusters, which is good. That's exactly what we wanted. The next thing that the comments suggested was putting some plates above those decoys, which I think is going to be a good idea. So if I go to number 9, which is my my heavy armor stuff, I can put some heavy armor panels over these decoys here, so that if something tries to shoot at them, it's a little bit more difficult to actually damage them like that. So a little bit of armor over those guys, and then we're gonna need some metal grids for each of these. All right, we should have everything there. So here's a metal grid, another metal grid, and then on the other side we've got the 2 other metal grids as well. Okay, there's that one, and there is that one. All right, nice. And I wrote down in my notes, some people said I needed more batteries, but I wrote down in the notes, more batteries needed, my lord. So we need to add more batteries to this thing, and the reason we need to do that is because railguns use a lot of battery power. So having some extra batteries would not be a bad idea. Where will we place them, though, is a good question. We can maybe put a couple batteries in here. Or maybe there's some space in the ship that we could use. I mean, we do have this area right here, but maybe I want to keep that open. Site your granary. You know what? Right here. Ooh, can I get in here? Ooh, that's not a bad idea. I think right there and the same place on the other side is going to turn into a battery. So let's put another battery in here just so that we have an extra kind of in the wings. Another battery going right there. And then one going on this side as well. And we'll hide that as well with the plates that were there. All right, there's another battery. And you know what? I was gonna put steel plates here, but I think maybe I just put another battery right there and right there. It'll be a little exposed from the back, but I'm not too worried since we don't really have a habit of turning our booty to enemies. They're gonna stay on the front of us, ideally. All right, there's that other battery. Perfect. And I need to remove this from our build planner. So we have 4 additional batteries, which are gonna charge up our rail guns, which is gonna be good. Speaking of charging, some people said that what might be a good idea is also to have a jump drive on this thing, which I would love to have a jump drive. I just don't know where would fit it. You know what I mean? I mean, like I could remove, how many back thrusters do we have? Just the 6. I could technically, oh no, we have 2 right there. Oh man, I could technically remove this guy and throw a jump drive there. It's the same amount of space. That wouldn't be a bad idea, would it? Honestly, I think we have enough thrust in the back direction. How much thrust? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in the backward direction. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the forward direction. I think that's pretty even. I think that's fine. All right, decision made. I think we're removing this. We're removing this guy and replacing it with a jump drive, which is gonna be fun because it's a lot of stuff. Maybe I can just put it in there.
Inventory full.
Yeah, it's the same space as a jump drive. A jump drive takes up a 3x2 area, and this takes up that same space.
Inventory full.
Plus that we do have that layer of, I think this is just, yeah, armor in the back that we can remove and replace with, you know, the jump drive.
Inventory.
Oh gosh, buzzes, please don't try to weld this while I'm de-welding it. There we go. Okay, it's de-welded, so to speak. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove, oh, maybe I don't wanna remove these. Hang on, the corridor's right there. Okay. Oh shoot, that's also where that connects. Oh, I'm a fool. Okay, it's okay. What we're gonna do is we're gonna remove this and remove this. Never mind. Okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do not a T-junction, but a C-junction, which is a weird way of saying a corner. Right there, okay? Grab this piece. I don't think we have the stuff in there. We have to actually go down here to grab this, which is fine. So we're gonna put that C-junction right there. Then we're gonna follow up with a second C-junction right here. Okay, are you following me? I think you're following me. It's not too complex of an idea. And then, following that, we're gonna go with yet another C-junction right there. Boom, imagine that, okay? So after that C-junction, what we're gonna do is, that's where our connector is gonna be. Okay, so that's a fake connector. That one's not real. So we're gonna put the real one right over here. Facing that way. All right, there is our real connector. And what that's gonna do is that's gonna open us up some space to put our jump drive back here. Now our jump drive is gonna be a little bit easy to shoot, but that's a future problem. Okay, we're gonna remove these. We don't need these anymore. The refinery, that's fine. I'm gonna put this in there, and then we're gonna throw our jump drive right back here. So if I press G, go to jump drive. We have a Prototech jump drive, but we don't have it. We don't have a Prototech jump drive on us. It just exists. So we're just gonna take a normal jump drive and toss it in, right? I guess right there. Now this thing can get shot, which is gonna suck, but that's also a future problem that we'll have to deal with at a future date. All right, so this is gonna require gravity components, detector components, and stuff like that, which I don't know if I have on the grid. But if we don't have it, we'll make it. It'll be fine. I put it in production just now, so it should be making at any point. By the way, when are we going to go to space? So I was saying maybe we'd go to space next episode, but I think what we might do is we might say episode 35 is the episode we're going to go to space. So this is episode 30. That gives us a couple episodes to actually do stuff around the base and get this base kind of finalized so that we can actually go to space knowing that we have a finalized base. Now, this episode we're going to do quite a bit. We're going to try to weld up every single block that's unwelded on the base by the end of this episode. So all of this stuff right here, we're gonna try to weld up. In fact, we might remove these because I want to change this up just a tiny bit. But everything that's unwelded that we haven't welded since, like these blocks right here, we have not welded since the start, basically, of the series. So I would like to go through and weld up all that stuff with the weld beast, and then that's gonna put us in a good position to finish up the series. Sorry, not the series. Finish up the Earth portion of the series, at least for now. In a decent state. So by episode 35, we're gonna take off in the Manta Ray, and we're gonna go to space and find out what's up there, which actually should put us at the halfway point of the year, which is gonna be very nice. I did plan that a little bit because once we go to space, the idea is that we want to actually explore space. There's plenty of other planets in the world. I don't know where they are, but I know they're up there somewhere. Could have sworn we could see a couple of them from here. Maybe it's just because it's cloudy. Oh yeah, there's one right there. But there are some far out as well that we could go and explore and see what they have to offer. So once we go to space, it's possible we don't come back here, you know, for a while, but we'll probably come back here eventually. So that's sort of why I want to push that to episode number 35. We'll go to space knowing that we've done pretty much most of the stuff that we want to do here. Now this is going to require gold, and we're out of gold. So this is going to remain unwelded until we go and find gold, which is fine for now. We're also out of computers, it seems. So let's go into our production, and I want to say, I mean, I'll put the computers first, but I'm also going to say, like, make me a bunch of computers, because you always need computers. As a gamer, I know that. Always need more computers. So make me like 10,000 computers. And while you're at it, make me a bunch of displays as well, like 1,000, maybe 2,000 displays. And then a bunch of those guys. I don't know exactly what we need. Oh shoot, there was actually a mod that someone recommended that I haven't installed yet. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm gonna install a new mod because I want to try this one out. So give me 1 second. We're gonna put a new mod in. 3, 2, 1, bam. All right, we are back, and the mod that we've installed is called the production quota, and I'm not sure how it works, but it supposedly adds a list to the somewhere. Oh, okay. So it actually has a quota list in the assembler right here. So I can tell it, yeah, set the quota for the specified blueprint. Construction components, I can say that for construction components, I always want to have, let's say 5,000 on hand. So I can set that and it'll build up to having that many, I guess. So what are some other things that I care about? Metal grids would be one that's important. I would always want to have probably, let's say 5,000 metal grids as well. Steel plates, I would always want to have probably 10,000. Just because we throw those in the welder beast all the time and we have a bunch of them. Small steel tubes, probably a 5,000. Large steel tubes is going to be another 5,000. Motors is going to be a 5,000. All right, I've gone through and set the quota for everything. I don't have anything set for thruster components or reactor components. Actually, maybe for thruster components, give me like 1,000. Well, thruster components require platinum, so I don't know that I want to do that. But reactor components, I don't think require platinum. For those, I'll say, give me 200. And so what that should do is that should go in here. Oh, good Lord. And set basically the quota for everything that we don't have. And anytime it goes lower than that amount, I'll remove that because I think that's, I'll let this handle that. Anytime it goes lower than that amount, it's going to try and build up the stuff. So yeah, okay, that's an interesting mod that we can deal with, the QOL production quota mod, and it's kind of a mod version maybe of Izzy's inventory manager, although Izzy's inventory manager is a script which handles a lot more than just the inventory. It can do stuff like make sure that your refineries are working optimally and stuff like that. People have asked me why I'm not running it. I have run it before, and I do. It's a good mod. Maybe it's time to run it again. Maybe on the next base we build, we'll run it or something like that. On this one, I think it's fine. We probably don't need to, unless refineries become a big issue. Let me look at refineries, speaking of which. Let's go into our inventory, look at refinery, and let's see what they're doing. I want to see what our ingots are. So ingot-wise, we do have a little bit of iron. We are lacking any gold. What if I go to my ores? So ores, we're actually almost out of ores. By the way, this amount of cobalt, this is still the cobalt that we got early on in the series. Cobalt just takes a really long time to process, which is kind of funny. But anyways, we probably are going to need to get some gold at some point, but I don't think we're gonna do that in this episode. We're just gonna work on the base and do stuff like that. So one other thing that the stingray, the manta ray rather, not the stingray, is missing is going to be a gravity generator. Having a gravity generator is very important for going to space and stuff like that. So let's get a gravity generator. And before we do, actually, what I want to do is remove this, and we're going to connect this up to the base because currently it's not connected. So let's grab a curved one right there, and we're going to bring it out this way until it connects to this. Okay, so another curved one gonna go right there, and then we'll get a couple straight ones going like that. Perfect. Build those up. All right, there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, and there's almost 4. If we can just get a couple more. We cannot withdraw all those superconductors, that's fine. I'll try and put these in there because I think we may have gotten 1 or 2. But anyway, yeah, so that's now connected. And why did I just connect that? What was I literally just about to do? Gravity generator. Okay, let's go on board the ship. And let's see if we can find a spot where a gravity generator would fit. Would fit right there, but there's no space there. It would fit up there as well if I wanted to. Let's see about other spots. Honestly, maybe I put it... I mean, this wouldn't be a bad idea. We'll get our gravity generator here. Let's see what we're missing for this thing. Needs steel plates. Why can I not grab steel plates through this? Is this... Oh, it's not connected because it's using the other connector. Oh. Whoops. Forgot about that. Okay, well, let's just do it the old-fashioned way then. We are going to have to reconnect it at some point. There we go. There's our gravity generator, and we're going to need to bring a couple trips to it. I want to see, do you have hydrogen on board? You do have hydrogen. Why did I just open ChatGPT? I think I pressed... Oh, okay. Alt space is apparently a shortcut to open ChatGPT on desktop. Didn't know that. That is interesting. All right, what I want to do is turn on our thrusters. Perfect. I want to turn on our batteries. Perfect. And I want to unlock you. We're going to back up just a tiny bit, and we're going to lock you, because you're our new locking dude. Okay, so connector. Switch that lock, and kabam. Make sure we're still charging, and make sure we're charging that as well. Okay, perfect. So now we should be connected, meaning we can very easily just grab our stuff through there, and we have a gravity generator. All right, so now we're in space. That will be able to give us the gravity we need. All right, I stopped the recording because I had a phone call, and I forgot to enable the recording again, and I managed to go probably 15 minutes without realizing that the recording was not turned on. So in that time, I didn't do much. It's just that in here, I added I added an event controller as well as 2 timer blocks just to control the connect and disconnect. And I also turned this from a corner one into a T-junction so you can access that. So not too much changed, but now what I can do is I can go ahead and disconnect this, and I can reconnect this, and it should automatically set all our stuff for us. So this actually, I can remove those. Let me grab our manta ray stuff right here. I'm gonna put our hydrogen engines stockpile on off right there. I'll put our thrusters on off right. Actually, no, I'll do our batteries right there on off, and I'll do our thrusters on off right there. And then one more thing I want to do, if I go into here, I wonder if I disconnect you and fly up just a tiny bit. If I go into here and go into my thrusters, yes, so it will tell me which ones are forward thrusters. So I think I'm looking for backward thrusters. So let me look for back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, these are the ones. So let's go here and do manta ray thrusters. All right, and now we can go ahead and connect that again. And then when I press G, I want to go backward and make sure we put our manta ray thrusters right there so that we can turn those guys on and off. And I think that's gonna help out a little bit. All right, I actually want to also run through here and do turrets and grab all of our turrets here so I can have them turn on off as well. So interior turrets included. Those in here. Do I have any other ones? No. Okay, so we'll put these called the manta ray turrets. Save, and I'll go ahead and throw that on probably number 3 right here. So we'll set on off right there. And then what I want to set for this one is going to be our railgun. It's going to fire with that. And then I want to set up a camera. So let's go add a couple cameras here. That's not going to be too difficult. I'm just going to grab a couple camera blocks so that I can put a couple of them without having to run back and get the blocks. So we're going to start with a camera. I think right here would be ideal because this is literally right where the turrets will fire. The only problem is we won't be able to see much. That would only be a targeting camera. Do it right here, actually. I think, does this fit? Yes. The problem is that the right way around, or is that upside down? I genuinely do not know. Okay, that's right way up. Perfect. All right, so that is going to be our camera front, and we're gonna go ahead and toss that right there. So now our hotbar is pretty well set up. I think I like how we have this set up. Am I out of ice? I feel like I might be out of ice, or at least out of hydrogen. What's going on down here? Let me go in here. Well, did my hydrogen thruster, hydrogen engines eat all of my ice? I think they might have, because I think my hydrogen tanks are completely out. All right, OSHA violation right there, but it's the fast way. Let's see. Yes, all of my ice is gone. How is all of my ice gone? Didn't I come back with like 1 million ice? I feel like I came back with 1 million ice. Let me go in here real quick. Hey. Do you have ice on you? Ice. No ice! Where's my ice? What happened to my ice? I came back with so much ice. Did you eat all my ice already? I simply cannot believe it. Well, I mean, you know what? Some of you guys have been saying I should really turn that base over there that we conquered into an ice thing. So maybe we'll do that. Maybe next episode we'll turn that into an ice factory. I think I'll just do like a rotating drill or something like that, and then yeah, we're gonna need the ice because apparently we use it very quickly. Okay, for now we're gonna leave it, but next episode we're going out there and we're making that an ice thing. And some of you guys have said, or at least one of you, I don't know, someone mentioned that I have a habit of ADHDing my projects and starting on something and then like getting distracted by something else and going to do that, and then getting distracted by something else. It's just, you know, it's part of it. It's part of what makes me, I guess. I do that, and it's like, look at this thing right here was a project. That was a project. The missiles were a project. Actually, speaking of the missiles, I'm about to ADHD myself over into the missiles because I got a very in-depth comment from a fellow by the name of, let me look that up real quick. Serathim. Okay, a fellow by the name of Serathim gave me a very in-depth comment about these missiles, and they said that they tested these missiles out on their world, just the same exact thing basically, just to see what the issue might be. And what they found is that the issue is most likely literally just that it needs more power. It's running out of power when it tries to launch, and having a little bit more power would help it work. So what I think we're gonna do is we're gonna try to make one of these things with one more battery, and that wouldn't be too difficult to do. We could literally throw a battery. We could literally throw a battery for testing on the side. Let's throw a battery right there. So in theory, just putting one more battery like that on each of these things would solve it. Because what they were saying is that you don't need to have thrusters like this. These are optional and they help out a little bit when you have them, but you don't need them by any means. All you have to do is have the thrusters on the back, and it'll orient itself the way it needs to go and stuff like that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and build those up, and then I want to see if those actually work. So we're gonna go on out to the little base that's over there. By the way, that would be the base that did all this stuff right here. And actually, the same commenter actually told me how to lock onto bases a little bit better versus the way we were locking onto them. So the way we were locking onto them was with the turrets, and apparently that's not the easiest way. The easiest way is to use the camera, and then you can actually have it lock on that way. So I'm gonna follow their comment and see if I can get it to lock onto that military installation properly. But meanwhile, let's go ahead and blueprint this. We're gonna call this lamp. We're gonna call this Mark III, just so that I have them all kind of labeled here. We'll go ahead and blueprint it like that. And then in here, we're just gonna call this the Mark III as well. So let's go into our projector, if we can find a way. Okay, there we go. So there's the batteries, and it's not a big issue. We'll just, oh shoot, is it a big issue? Oh no, why can't you weld this? Oh, that's why, okay. Ah! All right, let's go ahead and remove that guy as well so that you can weld him up. Perfect, okay, so these missiles should be perfectly capable Unless they run out of power before we go, that could be the issue. Yeah, that could also be another one of the issues. Maybe we need to have an event controller on this thing as well. I think we really need to just like redo those missiles and make them a little bit easier. Make sure they have a little bit more power and stuff like that. But let's go out real quick and let's test those out on that base to see if those work properly. All right, so we're at 1.8 now. And in theory, I should be able to use my camera and view it through my camera. So our lamp camera, if I view through here, then I should be able to, there's a command called lock switch. I'll put that over here. We'll run. All right, we'll run lock switch whenever we hit that. That's fine. And let's see if we look through this and then do lock switch. Did that work? I don't know, is that? Oh, you know what? I probably need to, no, I am switched to camera. It's searching, okay. So it's not found it yet, I don't think. Maybe we need to get a little closer. Okay, 1.47, this should be good. So searching still. It says lock switch command should lock onto any target, friendly or hostile. Then you can fire your missiles. So let's make sure we're looking through our camera. There's our camera. Target locked. Okay, perfect. It says target locked. So now let's look through our camera again and let's make sure that let's try and fire one basically. Did that? Oh, it did it. Okay, it's firing. I see it down there. They're firing at it. They're trying to launch it. Oh no! My missile! Okay, it tried. Let's fire another one. Fire two. Box two. Missile away. Probably should have fired both of them at the same time. But it's actually working. It is, you can see it down there. It's tracking toward the target. I think they're gonna try and, nope, never mind. They're not gonna hit. Yes! We have a successful hit. Wow, it took out that entire tower. I wish it would have focused on maybe one of the turrets, but that's fine. I don't think we're gonna be able to build another one, unfortunately. Because, yeah, our welder's on. We just don't have the parts for it. But thank you very much, Serathim. That was a really good comment, a really good description of how those missiles work and how I can use the camera to make them work as well. So thank you very much for that one. Let's head back to base, and on our next attempt, we should make sure we bring a couple extra materials so that we can rebuild those missiles if we need them. All right, heading back to the base. All right, here we are at the base. Let's go ahead and come in for landing. Oh, we're coming in a little hot. I think we actually put our turret inside the base a little bit there by accident. My bad. Okay, let's come in for landing on this little landing pad here. And let's turn those off there so I don't have to see all those signals. There we go. Let's go ahead and lock that right here, and that should automatically turn off our thrusters and everything else, and we should now be gaining hydrogen as well. Or we would be if the base had ice, which it does not. But anyway, yes, perfect. Okay. Oh, a little bit of lag there. Ow. And that's gonna go ahead and make our missiles again, which should be using those extra batteries as well, which is good. Thank you very much for that comment. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have been commenting very similar things as well, but a lot of the time I either don't see them or I see them but don't understand them fully. It just so happens that comment got through my thick skull on how to actually get these things to work. So now we have working turrets there using the camera lock mode. Very nice. Okay, our next project here is going to be, first of all, refilling our health here. Refilling our health to make sure we don't die in the next near future. And we'll refill our hydrogen as well while we're at it. So get rid of this guy, give me one of these guys, and get rid of these guys as well. And then give me some light armor, some steel plates rather. So our next project that we're gonna do, and we're gonna do this to completion so that we know we have it done, is we're gonna finish the bridge right here. And that's gonna include these towers, I think. We're going to finish everything out here so that this is all welded. And then maybe we'll weld up the weapon thing over there as well. I just wanna get all this stuff welded because the goal is, of course, to weld up the entire base so that when we leave this base, we're leaving it a completely welded base. So what we're gonna do here is start with, I think I'm gonna remove this one right here so that we have a standalone bridge. I think that's gonna be a good idea. And then what we'll do as well is we're gonna weld up all of these going up there. Basically all these towers. We're gonna get all these welded up nicely. And I should probably get the Weldebeest out here to do this, to be honest, because that will make life a whole lot easier. So you know what? Let's go grab the Weldebeest. Maybe I do another one of these as well, another tower, because we're gonna be removing one. So might as well do another one. Actually, you know what? No. I think I'm fine with the number of solar towers we have. I'm not going to add another one. Instead, I might remove this solar tower and remove this solar tower. Sorry, why am I calling them solar towers? I think that's a long Freudian slip. I think I'm going to remove this wind tower and remove this wind tower and instead replace them with solar, because I'd like to get some solar in here as well, because the sun is over us for a long period of time and it would be good to capture some of that. So looking at our power as well, okay, we do actually have a lot of power, which is very nice. I think all of our hydrogen was probably eaten by the hydrogen thrusters. But let's real quick, maybe I should plan out where we're gonna put the solar before I do this so that I can kind of actually get this in a decent state. So if I'm doing solar, it would behoove me, I think that's a word, to put it out here. If I could get it about this high, then having it kind of follow the sun at about this level would be good. So the same level as the top of those. The only problem is then I'm wondering how far do I need to go from here? And I think the answer is probably 1, 2. From there, we'll need to go, is it 8 blocks? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, something like that. Here's what I think I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna do a full solar tower like we've done in the past. I'm gonna do like a half solar tower, using a very similar logic to the logic that we used for the elevator with the pistons. We're gonna do a sort of double hinge system, because in the past series that I did, we had a problem where our solar towers kept getting shot down, and I don't want that to happen again. So what I'm gonna do instead is I'm gonna link these together so that if it shoots down one of those, it's not gonna shoot down both of those, which is exactly what I would like to avoid. So there's enough for that, and there's enough for that. And the reason I'm welding these up before I do anything crazy with them is because if I try to put stuff on them right now, they might just fall over because they don't have any, they technically don't have any torque when they're not welded up. So they'll just, or any braking power, they'll just fall over. So, okay, well, we're launching a missile onto the ground there. My bad. So we'll go in one more here, and then let's do our connector blocks, or whatever, whatchamacallits. Merge block, that's the scientific name. Mergius blockius. Okay, merge block there, merge block there. Let's get those welded up. 1, 2, and let's get this block while we're at it so we don't litter. I don't like to litter on the ground of my world. And let's get these welded up here. So I hope that this leads to fewer mishaps where I have to rebuild the entire solar structure. So with those connected, okay, those are now connected. We can just go like this. Then we can remove, okay, gotta be careful there. We can remove them, and then we can go like this. Now, of course, I am gonna need to get some steel plates for this, but once we have this like that, which I really like, I think I'm gonna do something like this. So we're gonna do this right here. It's gonna come down like that on both sides. And then we're gonna use our solar panels. And we're gonna be using the colorable ones faced like this. So I think what we're gonna do is something like that, and we'll continue it this way. And this is gonna be kind of a long line of solar panels. That's the goal. And it's not gonna be able to do the full rotation. A normal solar tower can do like a turn, and it can also go up and down. This one's only gonna go up and down, which means it's not gonna be like perfectly optimal, but the sun comes up over there, basically, and it sets right there. So as long as it's, you know, somewhat optimal, it should be good. And before the sun goes down, what I wanna do is, well, let's get the rest of these on here real quick. So this one's gonna go there. We're gonna have one following up right there if I can. Maybe I can't. Right there. And then one right there and one right there. And again, it's gonna continue down like that. And then what I would like to do is get a, I think what we're gonna do is go down from here. And we're gonna have this be kind of our little control area. And is this me starting a project before I've completed the previous project? Maybe. Maybe it is. But I'm saying we're gonna get everything welded, not in this episode probably, but we're gonna get everything welded before we go to space. In this episode, we're at least gonna get a lot of it. And then we've got these hinges right here, which we'll call Solar Tower 1 hinge. And then here's the thing though, I don't know if this can actually support an elevation rotor being hinges, 2 of them. But one thing I can do is call one of them the hinge and then give the other one basically no force. So I wonder if currently one of these is set to the solar tower camera. I don't know which one, but the other one is not set. So I wonder if I tell this to just look at the sun, what's gonna happen? Always aim at sun? I don't know if I can, since I don't have an azimuth dude. I mean, I could give it that and see what happens. Or maybe I just have to do the camera. Oh, you know what? That's probably what it is. Solar tower 1 camera, and then always aim at the sun, please. Yes. Okay, it's doing the thing. This is exactly what I wanted. Again, I don't know which one of these is actually doing the movement, but it's working exactly as I intend. And it's aiming at the sun, sort of. It's not gonna be 100% efficiency probably, but it's gonna be pretty darn close. I'll get a couple of those built up while I'm at it. So there's one of them right there. I don't know what 100% efficiency is to tell you if it's being 100% efficient, but we'll be able to tell. We'll at least see if it gets 4 stars, or 4 bars rather. Yeah, so it is getting 4 bars, which is really all you can ask for, right? And we have this last one right here. I guess maybe I'll get the bottom row as well. So the reason I finally decided to do solar is because I got a heartbreaking comment in the comments section from someone saying, is wind power the only power available in Space Engineers? And I was like, have I really steered the community wrong into thinking that the only power available in the game is wind power? And I think yes, I think that's what has happened, because that's all I've used thus far is wind power in this series. Now, usually I do a combination of wind and solar, and then maybe do some hydrogen engines, and then do maybe some uranium power with the reactors. But this series, it's only really been wind so far, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, there are technically, I think, 5 ways you can do power. There's wind, which we've been doing. There's solar, which is the other obvious one, early game power. There is reactors from uranium, which just use uranium to create power very easily. That was the original source in the game. And finally, there is hydrogen. So that's 4. But then you can also technically build batteries, and it gives you a little bit of power to start. So that's your 5th source, is building batteries. And in fact, a long time ago on YouTube, I have no clue who it was, but there was a video of someone doing a ship which essentially mined stone and turned that into batteries and created power that way. So I think what it would do is it would mine stone, create a battery, decharge the battery, and then destroy the battery, and then mine stone. So it sort of did a cycle like that, where it essentially was turning stone into battery power. If any of you guys know who did that video, please leave it in the comments below for reference and for giving credit. But anyways, here we go. We're gonna have 3 solar panels. And in fact, with having these solar panels, that means I can also whip out my solar panel script, which tells us how much power these solar panels are generating. So let me get an LCD out here, and let me see if I can get that thrown in here. Now, if you watched the last series, or even the series before that, which had the solar farm, you will know of this script. But if you haven't watched any of these series and this is the first one, then you might be amazed by this script. Well, it's not really anything amazing, but it does some good work. I don't know if there's an easy way for me to add. Oh, I need a programmable block as well. Okay, programmable block. We'll go edit, browse scripts. I don't know if I have it in my scripts here. I don't think I do. Okay, I actually don't know where my solar script is, so give me 1 second. I'm just gonna go back to a different world, grab it, and we're back. Okay, so I got my script. Let's go ahead and throw it in the edit. Kabam. There's our awesome script, and let's make sure that we do LCDA. It's actually not called LCDA. Need to add the names here. Okay, so for our LCD name, it's gonna be this, Solar Tower Monitor LCDA. Tower A is gonna be the title there, and then Solar Panels Tower A is gonna be that. So I just need to make sure I label all these solar panels. Currently it's running here, Tower A, it's pretty much not finding any solar panels. So let's run through here, not here, I wanna go to our solar. Let's grab all of our solar panels. They're incomplete, but let's grab all these guys and say that they're solar. So if I do that, let's click save. Boom, now we have our average, we have our total. I could upgrade this to give us statistics like what our max is, what our minimum is, and stuff like that. But currently it just shows us that we're getting an average of 124.81 kilowatts, and it's going down because the sun's going down. But yeah, we're getting quite a bit. Okay, perfect. Let's get this guy built up. I don't have those solar cells, so let me just real quick. So there is our other solar panel. And in fact, the average was a little bit low because one of the solar panels, I'm pretty sure, wasn't even producing. Like that solar panel was off, so it wasn't producing. Now that it's on, our average is going up to like 150, 142. Not bad. So we're getting a lot of kilowatts of power here. And actually, this script is cool because I could actually even update it so that it handles stuff like, you know, wind turbines and stuff. It's not that difficult. All it's doing is going through all these panels here and calculating what the average is and what the total is by adding everything up. But anyway, yeah, so the idea for this was that this was going to be super long. So let me go back over here, grab a bunch of steel plates. And so I wanted to have this be like even pretty much to like there. So pretty much like that. And that's gonna allow us to have a lot of solar panels on this thing. So let's turn this around and do something like this as well. And then same thing on this other side right here, build those up. And then on this side over here, same thing, turn those around and build those like so. And yeah, the nice thing with this is there's no one weak point. I guess currently the weak point's right here, but if they shoot this, it might destroy this, but it won't knock the entire thing down. Whereas the previous iteration we had on Europa, it would knock the entire tower down and we'd have to go and spend a lot of time trying to get that tower back up and stuff like that. So solar towers, let's get these up and running. All right, so there's that guy. And I think I want to have a little, we're gonna have this mini bridge right here that's gonna go out to it. But in addition to that, it's gonna go all the way to the ground so that if that bridge gets shot, that the entire thing won't be blown up. That's gonna go all the way down to the ground. I guess the only problem, the only problem is that now this sort of creates a wall, right? Actually, it's not that bad because there's never gonna be like a ship attacking from that angle right there. And even if it's on this side, I guess on this side it's a little worse because there might be something attacking from that angle, but it's not that bad having it like this. I think that looks pretty good, having this giant solar array. And in fact, we could even make it longer. I almost want to, but maybe we get what we have done before we make it longer, before we worry about that sort of thing. So what I wanted to do here, now that we have that solar array giving us more power, and in fact, this should now be recharging in 38 minutes, very good. So now that we have that, we can actually remove this because we don't necessarily need this anymore. Now we'll always need a little bit more power, but I've never liked really how this one's right in the middle of the way right there. So we're just gonna remove it and we'll suffer the consequences when we do. And likewise, I'm most likely gonna remove that one very far away and switch to kind of having the 4 towers plus the solar. And that should handle us for a while. All right, last trip of materials right there. And let's get this thing deconstructed. What I can do is I can transfer all these materials that I get from this thing into the bridge below us. All those blocks that are unwelded. Probably an easier way to do things.
Inventory.
We've just launched a couple blocks down there. But yeah, I'm fine having this just be like a pretty much welded little bridge thing going all the way over here. See, Buzz, you should be the one welding this stuff, but you guys only weld when you feel like it. And I know I don't pay you guys, but still. All right, a couple more blocks right here. Build up our way to that thing, and there we are. Perfect. And now let's do these. We'll get these ones, and then we'll go around this way, get some of these guys welded up as well. And in fact, some of this, so the buzzes might have done this. This might be the work of the buzzes, because I don't think I welded this stuff up. But then this right here, we're gonna get welded up as well, using the blocks from this. Okay, another load of materials here. Another load of materials coming right up. Okay, so I had built this because the idea was that I wanted to kind of shield this a little bit, but it's gonna be a little trickier. I think the lowest this is ever gonna go is gonna be down here, right? So maybe what I could do is build kind of like a little wall sort of thing right around here. I don't know, maybe that would look good. And that's kind of what I was planning to do on the other side too. So this goes out 1, 2, 3. On this side, 1, 2, 3 could be around there. Yeah, our energy is a little bit critical. They do not like when I use my grinder so much. Our inventory is full as well. Let's go deal with the energy real quick. The energy crisis of June 2025. I don't know why I just deposited all those things. I probably want them, but it's fine. Let's go continue work on removing this guy. We're almost done. It's getting close to being removed. All right, and likewise, this is getting close to being welded. So I'm trying to get most of these blocks up here welded that are connected to the hinges and across. And what I think I'm gonna do is remove the central pillar here. So we have this big pillar that goes up to hold on to those, but I think I'm just gonna use these instead. So I'll weld up these blocks. Once I get those welded up, oh man, it's starting to get really dark. Yeah, once I get these welded up, I'll be confident in destroying that middle arch. There we go. So we now have those all welded up, which means I don't need this anymore. And I think I'm gonna do a little bit of design work right here, where let's go like this. We'll come in like that. And then the floor will be right here. Maybe even for the floor, we'll do that. I don't know. Something like that I think would look pretty good. And then the whole idea is that I'm gonna put like a window in here or something like this. One of these guys, turn it like this. Maybe actually like this. Just a couple bulletproof glass needed. So let's build this up right here. And then bulletproof glass and then a couple steel plates I think I'd be happy with. All right, there's the bulletproof glass and then steel plates. I wanna get these kind of pillars done, which are gonna look really cool. There we go. So you now have this sort of like room here where you know, it's kind of like a control room for the tower. And I don't think it's gonna go the full length of the tower, although we could make it do that, but I don't know that we're going to. And then right here, we'll do block, block, and same thing on the other side. Block, and then we'll probably out of steel plates with that one. Get a couple more here. There we go, I kinda like this. We'll do a block right there, so you can actually get, you know, to the main walkway. And I think that's pretty good. I kinda like that. In fact, you know what? Let's mirror this on this side. All right, there we go. We were able to weld up a lot of this, and we have now this entrance right here, which oddly enough, they're actually still getting power. 72.55 kilowatts. Not, I mean, it could be worse. 69.65. Yeah, so we have this little observation area now that we can go into, and it's kind of like a cool little place, I think, which I like. But the sun has gone down and we're running out of time, so I think we're probably gonna end this episode here. I'd wanted to do a little bit more welding and especially get a lot of this stuff welded up, but we're gonna do that in next episode. Maybe next episode we'll do a lot of welding at the start and try and get a lot of this done. I mean, we did do quite a bit in this episode, getting this solar tower done. We got a couple things with the ship up there done. We got the missiles working again. So we did get quite a bit done in this episode, and next episode we plan to do quite a bit more as well. So let me know what you thought about this episode. I was checking to make sure if that was a reaver or not. Leave comments below in the comment section if you have any ideas or anything like that for what you want to see in future episodes. Remember, we're going to space in episode 35, so we have 5 episodes from here to get space ready, which we pretty much are for the ship, but we need to get the base ready to be left on its own. But anyway, as always, if you're not subscribed already, what are you waiting for? There's a subscribe button down below. You can click that and click the notification bell if you want to get notifications for when videos come out and stuff like that. You'll get an email or whatever it does with notifications. And if you'd like to join YouTube as a member or become a patron, there are links below in the description where you'll get your name in the end credits right here. You'll also get, in some cases, early access to videos. And of course, in some cases, you might even get a shout out at the end of the video. So the people we're going to shout out at the end of this video are Silent Contender, Iron Helix, and Queen Danny. Thank you very much for your support, and thanks everybody for your support who's watching these videos. With that, I will see you all in the next episode of Space Engineers Survival.